Hello and welcome back to the Blue Room EWFC Podcast with me, Peter McFarlane, and I am delighted to be joined once again by my amazing co-host who needs no introduction, but as always, I'm going to anyway. The belle of the Bullens, the top Toffees supporter and roaming reporter, the biggest personality in the top balcony. She brings us the views, the news, and the spirit of the Blues, the fantastic, the unrivaled, the unsurpassable and insurmountable, the one, the only, Miss Sarah Halpin. Sarah, how are we?
Wow, I think that's the best one yet, to be fair. The belle of the Bullens is my personal favourite.
The biggest personality in the top balcony.
I love that, absolutely love that, and definitely my dad and sisters can vouch for that. They'll be glad that nowadays I'm closer to pitch side and they probably don't have to put up with me screaming, so I apologise to everybody else that does. But no, thank you so much for that incredible... what do you say? Sorry,
you were made for the Gladys Street, though, weren't you? Let's be honest. Like you've settled well in. You've settled right in there now.
Oh, I'm telling you, and listen, like what a way to be, back in the Gladys Street, the lower Gladys the other day, then Sunday with the men against Arsenal. I've only just got my voice back, Pete, to be honest with you, because that was, and bless him, some fella from, I think, like Premier League or something. He was sat next to me in the little media bit, obviously get little bits of social for the club channels, and yeah, he kept turning around. He was like, you know what I'm like. So I think he was glad for full time so he could get away from me, to be honest. But yeah, brilliant. What a time to be a Blue. It was a brilliant weekend last weekend for both the men and the women, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And that was it after Saturday's game. I think that gave us a massive lift, and we obviously had a chat after the game, and we were talking about how much we were looking forward to going to Man United, and we appreciated it was, for the second time in 2 days we were playing against league leaders. We were probably going into that game as underdogs. Certainly going to face Man United as well. It was probably the one fixture this season in the league where I feel like we weren't really in the game. The home leg against Man United where they beat us, it was 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like that was the only game really this season where I feel like we haven't shown what we're all about and we haven't really clicked. So for us to go there on Sunday and put in that defensive performance, or just the all-round performance, what a performance from them players.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. And it's spot on with what you say. Completely agree. And I think, Brian and the players would agree with that as well, that the home fixture where we lost 3-0 is probably the only game really this season in the league, certainly, where we've not really looked in contention in the game. They did come to Walton Park and, really kind of blew us away on that day, which was a disappointment, of course. It's not a team, home or away, where we've really ever had much joy against them. I know we got a draw last season or the season before at home with Simone McGill, but other than that, I think they've beaten us in every league fixture. So it becomes this fixture where sort of psychologically, you're going into it. Even I was reading the programme before the game, and they'd actually put in the stats about, that Manchester United had faced Everton more than any other club. And, they were boasting their record against us, having played 12 and won 10. And I thought, even that got a little fire in my belly. I thought, come on, let's have them today. And obviously we didn't get the 3 points, but to come away with a draw, a 0-0, and obviously they gave it absolutely everything because they're going for the title, and we dealt a huge blow to their title challenge as well. So quite the weekend.
Absolutely. And again, talking about psychologically for the players as well, obviously without having the best record against Manchester United, having been slightly humbled, it's probably fair to say, at Walton Hall Park earlier on in the season, for the players to come back and to show that fight and those battling qualities that we absolutely adore, don't we? We know that this squad of players has got that in abundance, but for them to come out and really play with confidence as well. I feel like it wasn't just a solid defensive display. I like the fact that we carried on trying to play our football. Obviously, it didn't always work, but we still had chances. I know that Aggie broke towards the end again, which from a really good build-up. Jess Park had a chance at the end, which I'm sure she'll be ruining a missed chance at the end, but she was fantastic all game. But I mean, we can't not talk about the defensive display, and certainly in particular Courtney Brosnan in goal, coming in after obviously Emily Ramsey can't play against Manchester United because she's on loan from there. But I thought Courtney Brosnan was absolutely outstanding, wasn't she? It was. I always feel with Courtney, even when she's not in the side, she is such a positive figure to have around that team and to have around that squad, and it doesn't go unnoticed from the supporters. Whether she's playing or not, the amount of encouragement and the amount of advice and the amount of support that she shows the rest of the squad is just unbelievable. And to see her put that performance in on Sunday, she was absolutely fantastic, wasn't she?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. And I had to have a laugh with her because post-match I said to her, I'm going to do something. And she was like, oh, God, what are you going to do? So I didn't show her. I'm delighted to be joined by Courtney the Wall Brosnan.
Yes.
And she was mortified. You could tell she was like, oh, for God's sake, Sarah, but I had to do it because she was just absolutely, she was a wall in that game. And, obviously she and the rest of the team were bitterly disappointed to exit the cup the previous week. So I'd spoken to her in the build-up. I'd been in Finch, and I don't know if yourself and some of the listeners saw the little interview I'd done with Courtney, and she was saying about how hard they were working, and that how much they were determined to put right the previous result the weekend before in the cup, and there was just no getting past Courtney Brosnan or the back line on Sunday, and I just think she deserves immense credit, and everything you've said about her as a character. I think it's a really interesting and positive situation that we find ourselves in at Everton, again with the goalkeepers, where you've got Emily Ramsey and Courtney Brosnan both battling it out for that starting jersey. And obviously Emily's played quite a bit of football recently, and Courtney's come in and showed exactly what she can do. And we've got two absolute belter goalkeepers, and Emily is the same. I'd say whoever's getting picked to start, they support each other immensely and fully. But yeah, you can't help but love Courtney. You can hear her all through the games, whether she's on the pitch or on sideline. She is shouting encouragement, getting through to the players. Yeah, she's just an absolute belter, isn't she? And absolutely delighted for her that she got that big clean sheet on the weekend.
It was, and it was a big clean sheet, and when you talk about sort of that competition for places in the side, it's great. It's great to have healthy competition. You want every player to be kept on the toes. You want every player, wanting to perform to their absolute best every week, because they know there are other players waiting in the wings to take that starting berth if they don't perform. But as the season's going on, I think it's difficult to pick out a single player who isn't performing. But in particular, that back line is going back to Sunday. When you look at the performances from Rika Savecki, from Gabby George, Megan Finnegan, Nathalie Bjorn, Lucy Graham when she came on. I just feel like the whole, every single player in that back line was just incredible. And touching on the subject of Gabby George, by the way, the player, Barclays FAWSL Player of the Month for January. Congratulations, Gabby. Fully deserved. Gabby has been putting in 10 out of 10 performances for as long as I've seen her play for Everton. She obviously had a bad injury, which when she did her ACL, but she's come back even stronger. And I didn't think that would be possible, but she's come back an even stronger and even better player. Gabby's been playing as a left wing back for a lot of this season, but also slotting in at centre half into her usual centre half position. I can't find enough words, superlatives to describe just how good of a player Gabby George is. And on that note, I was absolutely shocked, disgusted, to be honest with you, to see her left out of the latest Lionesses squad. How on earth can we explain that one?
Well, firstly, off topic really quick, if anyone can hear rustling, I believe that was Moon, my little cat, who just decided to get the zoomies. So yeah, any outside noise, just try to block out. I do apologise. But
Whiskey Blue's currently asleep at the moment, but I'm sure at some point he'll have a little cameo as well.
It's always a madhouse, do you know what I mean? So we'll just
it's a window into our world, isn't it, Sarah? At the end of the day, these podcasts are just a little window into our world.
Oh, absolutely. And she's going to go off again. I can see her. She's revving herself up. She's found something to attack. Let's hope it's not me. So yeah. But sorry about that. Just wanted to get that in there quickly. But no, in terms of Gabby George, everything you've said yet again, Pete, absolutely could not agree with you more. And I must admit, I went on Twitter a couple of times to write a tweet about Gabby's exclusion from the squad. And I had to stop myself because I thought, is that a bit too harsh? Because I feel so passionately about, being upset that she's not been selected. And I cannot wrap my head around it. She's just gotten Player of the Month for the entire league. Rightly so as well, by the way. And I'd say that, the probably the last 2-3 or more squads for the Lionesses should have included Gabby George. But to be left out of this one, I am just scratching my head. I really cannot believe it. And I think, everybody that watches women's football and has watched Gabby play surely must feel the same. I believe she said Serena's been in touch and she sees Gabby as a left wing back. But at the moment, she's just slightly behind her competition. I've no disrespect to her competition whatsoever, but I can't see anyone being better than Gabby right now. So yeah, I just hope she's such a strong player mentally as well, strong person mentally. She'll just carry on doing what she's doing. That won't affect her, and she'll just keep playing football as she has been for Everton. And listen, I wouldn't even be surprised if she ends up getting called up to this squad. If somebody drops out or anything like that, surely she's got to be the first on the list, and she'll be in there sooner rather than later. But yeah, I just, as you can see by my rant, absolutely gobsmacked. For me, she's one of the first names that you're putting in that squad. So yeah, confused.
100%. And I think that it's you have to bear in mind as well is that this is not me being disrespectful to any of the other players who've been called up, as Sarah said. But what I would say is that when you've got players in the squad who are not playing every week for their team, who are sitting on the bench for a lot of the time, players who are actually been picked out of position, certain players who've played out of position. When I see decisions like that, and I see Gabby George not selected, and there are players who are supposedly ahead of her in the selection process, I cannot fathom it. I just cannot fathom it. I cannot fathom it. So if Gabby's listening, just so you know, Gabby, we appreciate you, and I think every Evertonian who would listen to this, every Evertonian who's not listening to this, any Evertonian who's ever seen Gabby George play, and to be honest, the wider fan base as well, because I've seen fans of other clubs commenting on things on Twitter and on posts about how shocked they are that Gabby hasn't been selected. So it's important.
Bizarre.
It's bizarre, and I think Gabby, we will be showing her our full support from now till every time she pulls on that blue shirt, she'll always have our love and support. But certainly, I would say to Gabby, just keep up with what you're doing. You're not doing. There's nothing more you can be doing. You just have to. But what's the thing that Sean Dyche said? The minimum expectation is maximum effort. I think that goes. I think Gabby George just exemplifies that. And I think she's a fantastic player, fantastic role model, and someone who it's the Lioness is lost if she's not going to be playing. But anyway, moving on to players who have actually made that squad. Got to say congratulations to Emily Ramsey for her first senior squad call up, and of course the fantastic Jess Park, another player who's been phenomenal for Everton this season. Again, as disappointed as we are for Gabby, it's great to see those two in the squad, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It is, and it's taken nothing away from the two of those players. I think you know, especially for Rambo to get her first senior call up, and that's so thoroughly deserved as well. I mean, she's a player who I think could have been in contention for Player of the Month as well and stuff like that. She's really enjoying a fantastic first season with Everton, and you know, I don't know anything about it, but I'd love to keep her for longer because she's just bedded in so well, and really excited for her to get a call up. And Jess Park as well, of course. Just, I mean, where do we even start with Jess? She's just absolutely flying, isn't she? She's a magic little player, and it's great to see for her as well that coming to Everton on loan is helping her with her international career. You know, she's had multiple call-ups to the Lioness squad now as well, and no doubt she'll get some minutes in this international break and do what she does on the international stage. And I hope the same goes for Emily as well. I hope that she gets some minutes. She's certainly more than good enough, and she's certainly someone I can see pushing to be England's number one in the coming years, you know, going forward on a consistent basis. And that's high praise indeed when you look at the likes that you've got, you know, Sandy McKeever and Ellie Roebuck and obviously Mary Earps and stuff. But Rambo thoroughly deserves to be there, and what a great bunch of goalkeepers we've got. So brilliant, delighted for the two of them.
Absolutely, and again, when you look at the quality in that position as well, Hannah Hampton didn't even
Hannah
get the squad. You know, she fantastic keeper, and you know, there's been some mumblings of issues, you know, surrounding Hannah, and hope everything's okay with her. But certainly she's a top goalkeeper. But Emily Ramsey, for her to be in that squad, I think it's fully deserved, like you say. And again, it's this mixed message, isn't it? Because one of the things about Gabby George not getting selected, I had this thing in my head about the message that it sends to the players, you know, two players who want to try and take that step up into international football. And I look at it and think, for Gabby to be playing every week for Everton Football Club and not get selected, but then there are players who are sat on the bench who are selected, but they play for so-called, you know, the big four. The frustrating thing for me is that what I don't want to do is to fall down this trap of players thinking that they will be better off sat on the bench at one of those clubs rather than starting every week for you know, a club like, you know, like Everton, fantastic club like Everton. But then the flip side is that you see the likes of Emily Ramsey and Jess Park, who have actually come to Everton on loan. They're playing week in, week out. They're enjoying the football. They're playing fantastic football. And that just shows that you know, Everton Football Club is such a fantastic club to come and play your football and to come and develop everything. For me, everything, you know, in terms of the support that we have at Walton Hall Park, in terms of the facilities, obviously that they use at Finch Farm, in terms of the staff surrounding Brian Sorensen and his team as well. Obviously, it's an exciting sort of time to be around Everton. And I really hope that players won't be put off in terms of committing to us long term. I want them to know that Everton is such a fantastic place to not only play your football, but also it's a really good place to sort of show the world what you can do. And as I say, I'd always say it'd be better to be playing for Everton week in, week out than being stuck on the bench somewhere else. But anyway, moving on. We've got a bit of a gap now, haven't we, until the next match, the next WSL match. So it's the 5th of March. It's our next home game against Aston Villa, a team who are sort of buzzing around us, aren't they? They don't seem to be to be backing off. They've obviously made a lot of signings in the summer. They've decided to sign half the Everton side. We've obviously got a few familiar faces in that Aston Villa squad, and that's obviously one to look forward to, isn't it? At Walton Hall Park, and then we've got Leicester away on the 12th. Again, another club with a lot of
against Willie Kirk as well.
Willie Kirk, yeah, and of course the fantastic Hannah Kane. It's great to see.
Oh no!
Can we talk about Hannah for a second? By the way,
always.
Always. She scored for Leicester the other week. What a fantastic! For me, that was one of my favourite moments of the season. Obviously, barring Everton, seeing Hannah score that goal after everything that she's been through with her injury as a former Everton player as well. What a fantastic moment for her.
Oh, I can't barely talk about it without like getting emotional, to be honest, because, you know, I know Hannah's obviously a real sort of fan favourite still with Evertonians.
We love her.
Oh, she's boss, isn't she, to be honest? And obviously she's been through one hell of a tough time with doing her ACL injury, kept her out for over 12 months. Prior to that, she'd had another really, really brutal injury that had kept her out for about 12 months. In between, you know, she'd gone to Leicester and got them promoted back into the top flight. You know, she's been called up for Wales, made a debut, really, really dazzled on her debut as well. And, you know, then got this awful injury. And, you know, I know mentally, psychologically, it's something that was so, it goes without saying, it's obvious that it's going to be hard, but, you know, to get through it as she has, and just to see her come back was huge. And then, you know, her performances have been incredible since she's come back, but to see her get that goal, I mean, and what a finish it was as well. Just could not be happier. She's one of the nicest, best people you could ever wish to meet, and she's still got a bit of a soft spot for the Blues as well. She'll text me, especially, you know, with the men, when the men are playing and that, she always wishes us good luck. And she's just a great person. And actually, I'm going to use this as because Everton Women aren't playing this weekend, right? Prenton Park, our neighbours, because they play over the water, don't they? They are playing Leicester. So Sunday, 2:00, I'm going so I can watch Hannah against Liverpool. So if any Blues fancy going and being a Leicester fan for the day, you know, go and support Willie Kirk and Hannah Kane, etc., Kirsty Lavelle, all the former Blues against our rivals, then that's where I'm going to be on Sunday. So
that's where I'm going to be on Sunday now. I didn't actually realise that, Sarah. So yeah, we'll get the message out to the supporters club, and we'll go
just
down.
Get everyone chanting and singing for Hannah for the whole game. Do you know what I mean?
you had me against Liverpool. To be fair, any excuse to go and support the team playing Liverpool, and I am there. But especially if, you know, as you said, with all the former players who are playing for Leicester. So yeah, it's right. Get down to Prenton Park on Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff, as the former Everton players take on the neighbours. I was trying to think of a way to say that like we don't swear in this podcast. So
the neighbours. That's what we refer to them as, the neighbours. Oh, I've got something. Sorry, this is just spiraling into just a chat now. You know, I forget that we're recording this podcast, but that's just reminded me of something else that wound me up yesterday.
Careful.
It's because we were talking about our neighbours. Obviously, the derby, everyone get your tickets. I'm sure a lot of you that are listening already have. We'll get to that. Sorry, Pete. I've gone off on a tangent, but we're rolling with it. So,
we're rolling. We're going with it.
Derby's announced at Goodison, so Liverpool tweet about it, right? And then Stengel, one of their players, women's players, like quote tweeted it or something saying, it's almost as pretty as Anfield. It will be even prettier with a favourably red scoreline or something along those lines. And I just thought, I hope our players have a look at that and our fans and make sure that we do what we seem to do against them all the time, which is beat them. And then,
Well, I tell you what, Sarah, what you need to do between now and then is we need to find that tweet. We need to print it off.
Get it on a banner
20 times. Well, we'll just, you're around the team, you're around the club. I'll give you a pile of them to stick up in the dressing room, and that can be the pre-match team talk done. Because if they think they're coming to our gaff and taking 3 points after the way we demolished them at theirs, well, they're not. Put it this way, they're not going to take anything without a fight. But yeah,
I love that though. I love a bit of like,
you're right.
A little bit of it gets it going. But I saw it and thought, I hope you'll be regretting that on March the 26th.
Well, put it this way, we will be quote tweeting away, won't we? Let's be honest. We will be enjoying that one if we do the business. But yeah, on that subject, the big one. We talked about Villa, we talked about Leicester. But the big one, the Merseyside derby, Goodison Park, 26th of March. What I mean, after the demolition that we did to them at Anfield earlier on in the season. And to be fair, at the time, we were still bedding in a lot of new signings. We were still sort of finding our feet a little bit, still trying to sort of, you know, we'd had a bit of disappointing result against West Ham in the opening game. We went to Anfield, and as I say, we demolished them. I mean, this is a big one, isn't it? This is the one that we've been looking forward to for a long, long time. When you bear in mind that, before the last time we went to be playing at Goodison Park in the Merseyside derby, the game got called off on the morning of because there was like a gale force wind. I remember going down to pick. Oh mate, it was crazy, wasn't it? I remember going down to pick the tickets up, and it was just like, it was crazy. There was some tiles falling off roofs and all kinds, and I was like, nope, this isn't going ahead. But then it was rearranged, and then there was COVID. So lockdown happened, and then they decided to get relegated. They spent had a little journey down in the championship for a couple of seasons. So it was great of them to get themselves back up, just so that we could beat them at Anfield. But we want to follow that up now with a win at Goodison, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. The Merseyside derby is always a great occasion, and as much as we give them banter and stuff like that, and I always want us to be above them. I'm pleased for, we've got a few mates that work in and around, that are massive supporters of the women's team, and I hope they're miserable again on the 26th of March. But it is great to have them back in the league so that we can have these derbies, and I think what an exciting occasion for the players. There'll be players in our squad that have played at Goodison. There's players in there that haven't played at Goodison, and I just really hope that we sell a good number of tickets, because it was incredible to see 27,000, I think it was, tickets sold for the one at Anfield, and it would just be great to beat that, wouldn't it? You want to see Goodison as full as possible, and it's everyone that comes will have a thoroughly boss time as well. This is the thing, you get to Goodison Park, get to watch a derby. The quality of football is exceptional. I mean, just go on, if you haven't seen them, the goals that we scored at Anfield, and the way we played them there, it's just going to be brilliant. And yeah, I just hope we get the place full and bouncing, so that both sets of players have a great occasion. But obviously our girls will come out on top, and that's what I see happening, to be honest.
Absolutely. If you can hear a little growling, by the way, Whiskey's making his cameo now. He's asleep next to me, and he's growling his sleep. You mentioned Liverpool, and he started growling. But yeah, I mean, but spot on. I mean, the thing about it as well is that we do have the banter. Obviously, I can't resist, can I, Sarah? But on a serious note, it is great to see Liverpool back in the WSL. It's great to see the city as well. It's great for the city. It's great for the kids in the city to be able to see their heroes, and especially, like you say, in a big occasion like a Merseyside derby. It's great for us because we tend to beat them. It's let's get that in, didn't I? But no, it's such a fantastic occasion, and I really would I'd stress that every Evertonian listening to this, or every Evertonian who doesn't listen to this, just every Evertonian out there, please get down to Goodison Park. We want to get it filled up. We want to make a statement as well. We want to be, we want to show what Everton Football Club's all about. I would love it, absolutely love it, to see the Gladys Street packed out and singing these songs for these players, because it has been difficult. It's been difficult for every Evertonian for such a long time, but I don't want to dwell on that. I want to concentrate on the positives, and the biggest positive for me this season has been the performances of these girls. These players, the Everton women's side, are an absolute credit to our football club, and I feel like us as a support, we need to acknowledge that, and we need to show them that fight and that passion that we have for Everton Football Club, and we need to get that across to them. I want them to be shaken. I want them to be, as in the Liverpool. I want the Liverpool players to be terrified of the Gladys Street. I want the Everton players to be filled with adrenaline from the roar of Goodison Park. I want it to be a bear pit, but I want it to be special. And I know that Evertonians out there who are going to be there. I know that you're going to give it your all to back the players. Anyone who's undecided about going, if you're a season ticket holder or member or official member, you've got until midnight tonight to buy your tickets for half price. So it's £4 for adults, £2 for kids and over 65s. And then it goes up to £8 for adults, £4 for kids and over 65s from tomorrow. But as I say, I plead with everyone, get your tickets, get down to Goodison Park and support this fantastic team, because they deserve it.
Yeah, and I think, you make such a good point there, Pete, because, obviously the season for us as Evertonians in regards to the men's team has been incredibly tough. It's been stressful, it's been hard, and there's no shying away from that. The league table reflects that, and the fact we've already had a change in a manager, etc. Fantastic result on the weekend, and it gives us a bit of hope and something to build on. But the girls have been doing that week in, week out, and being we're Everton, so we're the same club. So despite all that kind of outside noise going on, because there's no escaping it, there's been a lot of noise around this football club this season with media and all the rest of it, because that's what they love. They love a story, and they're going to work at Finch Farm. They're going in at times where there's Sky Sports outside and media outlets, and with everything that had been going on surrounding, and they just turn up, they work bloody hard. That's as much of a swear as I'm going to do. And they give it their all, and they get on with it, and they've been putting in superb performances week after week, getting the results week after week. And I just can't speak more highly of them. They're so professional. There's such a great environment around them. These girls really, really care about this football club, and bringing good times to this football club, especially as they know it has been hard, and they're doing so well, and it's so fantastic to see, because it's not easy. And look at where the women were last season. We had a really, really tough season last season. For a long time, people were talking about whether or not the women might get relegated. And then this season, you've got the obvious top four. And then we've created a little bit of a gap now between us and Aston Villa, who's our next game as well. So, yeah, I think everything you say, these girls deserve to come to Goodison Park. I'd love to see more games at Goodison Park for the women. I love Walton Hall Park, and it's an incredible facility. But, Everton at Goodison is just special, and I want them to walk out on that pitch and get goosebumps from the roar, from the Gladys Street, and let's hope that that's what happens, because we all know our fans are just absolutely incredible. So let's show the women that, and make it an incredible day, and hopefully a win over our rivals as well.
Is right, absolutely spot on. And yeah, I think that's probably the best way to finish, isn't it? That's the rallying call we need to finish this pod. It's such a positive time to be to follow this team. It's such a they've been the ones who've picked me up at my lowest ebbs this season. They really have. They've been the one constant and the one consistent for me as an Evertonian. And if we could bottle it up and sell it, you know what I mean, it'd be worth its weight in gold. But they are just
team spirit, mate.
Team spirit. Oh, talking of which, I mean, we always get a nice little window into the team spirit, because when you're on your adventures around Finch Farm, everyone on your jollies, yeah. Make sure everyone checks out all of the official content on the website as well, because Sarah has done some incredible interviews recently with Rika Savecki and Natalie Bjorn after the draw against Manchester United. Courtney Brosnan as well, another fantastic interview. Another one with Brian Sorensen, which again was brilliant. I actually really liked the one after the FA Cup defeat, by the way. That was still a great interview. And also, you've done a great one with Megan Finnegan this week. So make sure everyone checks that out. Meg talking about scoring at Anfield. I've got to bring that up again. And I'm looking forward to the derby. So yeah, make sure you check out all the official channels for Sarah's fantastic work. For now, Sarah, that's us for today's podcast. We will be back probably in the next week. We'll have, let's have it. Any excuse to talk about it?
Week. Why not? Absolutely.
It is right, mate. It is right. And I'll get your next introduction written up as we speak. Okay.
I'm shy.
Never. I'm gonna do like an edit at the end of the season. I'm just gonna edit them all together and just do like a like a montage of all of your epic introductions.
Oh my God, let's find the people that hate me and just play it on loop.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll do that, and we'll put like a little backing track to it. You know, like the way All Together Now has like the commentary.
Yeah,
like,
the monologue.
Yeah, we'll just have like all of like the best introductions for Sarah Halford from the season, and then play it like it'd be brilliant. We'll get it to number 1 anyway.
Come on, let's make it happen.
Is right. Well, I'm gonna go and get me pen, a piece of paper, write Sarah's next introduction. But for now, that's us from the Blue Room EWFC podcast. Up the toffees.